Hello, my beautiful souls, and thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel, The Butterfly Effect 44. Today, I have a surprise. I have this beautiful soul that I'm going to be interviewing today. Her name is Kiran Shines, and Kiran and I met at a breathwork ceremony in 2021. And since then, we've been really great friends. I feel like she is somehow a soulmate because, first of all, the synchronicities started to happen when her and I have a cat. They both look very similar, almost twins. Second, she was born probably a few years before, like after me. But she was born on September 16th, so we share the same birthday. I mean, what else cannot be so synchronistic about that? Right. Curly hair. And so, but one of the things that, Kiran and I have bonded on is our transformation in our love for elevating our consciousness and our energy and our frequency, and we've supported each other in many ways. She's been an inspiration for me. I've seen her transform in leaps. Her transformation, it's been amazing, inspirational, and I really look up to her. She's been there for me whenever I needed a shoulder to cry. And then she's been very influential in my own transformation as well. So very supportive, very knowledgeable, and so much wisdom in this beautiful soul. So I am really happy that she finally had some time because she's been quite busy. But today we decided to record, and what a better place than in plain nature right here. So hopefully the voice comes through okay, and we're gonna get started, but I don't want to start without actually talking about what she has accomplished in her, probably in the last 3 years or so?
Maybe 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. So first of all, she's a facilitator and an educator on mindset and transformation. Kiran's mission is to service and support humanity experience a life of freedom, peace, and love and joy. Kiran offers knowledge and guidance in holistic wisdom to physical, mental, and spiritual intelligence. Her commitments include Ayurveda, Vedanta, yoga, poetry, singing, dancing, and chanting, and many more, but these are the main ones that it's on her website. She works with others in integrating SATCHITANANDA, the existence, consciousness, and bliss. She guides others in creating their best life by realizing their full potential and discovering how extraordinary they are from the inside out. Kiran is also an author of children's book. She had written My Friend Maya, Karma and Dharma, and Swimming with Sadhana. Right? Did I get it right?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'm gonna pass it on to you, Kiran, and without further ado, let's start. Anything that you want to start with before we get into the questions?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. First of all, let me be very grateful and thank Vanessa for creating this beautiful space. And allowing many of us to come on this platform and share our gifts and talents. So thank you for creating the space, and it's an absolute honor to be here with you today and to be with all of you today. So thank you.
Oh, perfect. So, you and I both have engaged in all of these conversations about higher consciousness and awareness. And one question I want to start with is, why do you think there is so much emphasis nowadays in raising higher consciousness? Why do you think it's so important to our, not just individually, but to the collective?
Yeah. No, thank you for that question. That's actually a very beautiful question. Yeah, I mean, so what I can offer here is, the nature of experience, right? The nature of reality is very cyclical, right? We get to experience contrast, we get to experience alignment, right? And what we're seeing now, right, globally, is we're seeing, and we see this nature of duality or cyclical nature in all aspects of life, right? We see it in healthcare, we see it in politics, we see it in economics, right? We're experiencing a global in healthcare, we're experiencing a global pandemic. In economics, you're seeing the financial crisis, right? You're seeing scarcity mindset arise. In politics, you're seeing warfare, you're seeing conflict, right?
Yeah.
So you're seeing this happening on a collective, right? So on an individual level, really, like, if I can speak for myself, and I'm sure this will reflect with others, is that I'm tired, right? I'm tired of seeing all of this scarcity, all of this unhealthy messaging, all of this, conflict, right? That's arising. And so our energies get depleted, right? It's so depleted. And so I get to a space where I'm like, where do I want to spend? Where do I want to focus my energy and my attention on, right? There must be more than just conflict, scarcity, right? Unhealthy, choices, right? There has to be something more, right? So this is what I think you're seeing now, right? We've gone through a period of such contrast, and it's not just in the last 2 years, right? This has been happening for a while now, right? So what you're going to see now is, on an individual level, people rise up to explore, to be inspired, to be like, okay, what else is there, right? What else can I access, right? What's out there, right? And there are many souls ahead of us that have been guiding us, right? To now, okay, we've gone through that contrast. Now it's the moment to align, right? To rise to higher states of consciousness. And we've actually seen this in history too, right? We've seen periods of depression, recession, followed by periods of enlightenment,
Yes.
right? And so these are very exciting times, right? Because in periods of enlightenment, we see a lot of beautiful work come out, right? Result, art, music, science, right? All of this starts to result, and we're seeing huge leaps in neuroscience, epigenetics, right? Beautiful works of art, beautiful works of music, all arising, right? And so I would say, yeah, you're seeing on the collective consciousness, you're seeing a reflection of the individual, right? People choosing now for themselves, okay, I'm done with an old version of conflict, scarcity, unhealthy choices, to now rise to a space of inspiration and choosing freedom and peace, right? And it's being reflected, right? It's being reflected. This is a very exciting times. I love that we're in this space, time, and it's beautiful to be here.
Well, thank you. I couldn't agree more. And I, from my own experience, definitely it's come to the universe has this call on me that there's more to just whatever life I've been living in autopilot, and there's more inspiration. And one of my mantras is, life is a big experiment. The world, and I learned this from Kiran, is a big playground, and we get to choose. We have choices, and we get to the free will to choose whatever we want and follow our joy. And I find that it is reflecting. There is still a lot of work to do, but this is why we do this, because we want to inspire you to believe that there is more than just living in a mindset that's scarcity, in a mindset that's of impossibility. There is so much more to explore, and I've been leaning more into that these days and in the last couple of years. And Kiran has been a beautiful support for that, for me and for other people that she works with, as she's a beautiful coach as well and guide. So perfect. That was a beautiful reflection, and I appreciate the beautiful response, because I feel like it starts within us to become that light, and so we can shine on to others. And not to say it is the easiest thing, but it's, in the end, it is the most rewarding thing that we can do for ourselves to, bring ourselves to a higher consciousness and be a higher frequency for the ones that, are around us, the ones that we love. And believe me, she has a beautiful family that over the last couple of years has been reflecting back that light that she's been shining on them as well. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. That's beautiful. Thank you.
So, how did your journey in the spiritual path started?
Okay.
Or let's just maybe explore a little bit. How long ago? What was that? I guess I'm gonna say catalyst.
Beautiful. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So what I can say here, or I can offer here is, so I would say we're all on journeys, right? Individual, unique journeys. And then I guess at some point for some of us, it becomes very conscious, right? And it becomes intentional. I would say intentional, consistent journey of embodiment, right? Because there is now that element of conscious commitment to choosing my frequency, to choosing my energy, to choosing how I show up. And I would say my catalyst was in 2018. I went to a Joe Dispenza conference. And yeah, he's awesome, and he brings the science. So if you have that highly intellectual, scientific mind cultivated and evolved, he's going to speak to you, because he speaks on neuroscience, on quantum physics. He brings the science to the spiritual, right? And so there, I went to attend a conference, and I didn't realize we were going to meditate so much. So he does, in between lectures, we meditate, right, as a collective, right? There's thousands of people, right? He attracts thousands of people to his conferences, and so we meditate. And so and of course, when we start to meditate, I couldn't even sit for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes. I can sit for 5 seconds, right? Without my mind being pulled, right? And so there you kind of just do, because everyone else is doing. There's so much energetic support, right? Yeah. And so so I was doing it. I was so frustrated. I was moving. I could sit, right? All the thoughts come up in the mind, right? And then I think by day 4, something happened. There was a huge breakthrough. I felt a huge surge of energy through me, and yeah, I was able to just sit in this beautiful space. I really was. At the end of that conference, I felt like I was gifted this portal of awareness, and then it went from there, right? Once you're able to get out of your story a little bit, and you're able to see that story, there's that expansion of consciousness, then there's a possibility to rewrite that story, right? So I would say that's what happened there in that space. So I'm super grateful for Joe Dispenza and all the work that he does, and all the meditations that he creates. They're very beautiful, very inspiring. Yeah.
Amazing. And one of the things that also I'm going to add is that I've seen a couple of unfortunately I haven't been able to experience that, but I've seen it and through his videos that he posts. And what Kiran is talking about is that connection of that many people meditating at the same time. It just happens that it elevates everybody. Eventually everybody just feels that energy of everybody else in the meditation. It's almost like the I forgot the Maharishi effect. Have you heard about that one?
No.
So the Maharishi effect, many years ago, I think it was in some city in the US, there was a lot of crime, and they brought these experienced meditators. And so what they did is they meditated for hours and hours, and that energy actually changed the environment.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Like crime went down, and I mean, if you want to search on that, you can just Google it, and everybody, a lot of the teachers that I come across, they talk about it because it does influence and reflects back into the environment. And this is why when we change and we elevate ourselves, everybody around us also do elevate. So that's a beautiful experience for sure. And so the next question will be, what have you found to be the most rewarding in this journey for you?
You know, the most rewarding and fulfilling aspect of being a committed conscious journey, I would say, is the service. It's servicing myself, right? Choosing myself first to heal myself, and honoring myself where I'm at, right? Accepting that, okay, this is where I'm at, so no problem. You know, I have a baseline. Now, how do I move forward from here, right? So that service and support to myself is first and foremost, and then that reflects out here, right? It reflects in service and support to others, and so that's been incredibly fulfilling and rewarding on the path to just even. And servicing doesn't mean. Let me just maybe offer a little bit more here. It doesn't mean offering a coaching package or a journey, an individual journey. It could really just be. Anything really, right? Like servicing my cat Tilly, right? You know, servicing my friends, my family, right? Really anything that speaks to your heart. As you start to open up, it just simply reflects out here. So that's been incredibly rewarding, opening my heart.
Awesome. Yeah. And embodying more those beautiful emotions of love, compassion, kindness as well, right? You know, when as Kiran is saying, opening the heart, you know, we go through heartbreak in our lives, we go through difficult situations, and we have the choice, again talking about choice, to, you know, hard our heart or like soften it. And so that's a choice, and I find that the softer we get, you know, life just is gonna come back and give us the things that, you know, that we want, more loving relationships, even with our kids. And so I find that it's that's for me has also been the most rewarding, like improving that relationship with my family. And sometimes, you know, it's been challenging because, you know, I grew up in religion, so spirituality and religion don't always meet in the center, like in a balance, but it's getting there. I know that there's a lot of people that have been that grew up in religion, have been in that search and that seek of feeling that spiritual within them. And believe me, when you find it, you will understand it at a different level, and it just makes sense, because it's an opening. It's an opening, right?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and the way I can offer that, another analogy is, you know, to the heart is, you have a closed box, right? You don't know what's in there, right? And the only way to know what's in there and to see what you can actually embody, I love that word, embody, is by opening, right? Then you'll see everything that's in there. It's the same with the heart, right? The more that we can open up, the more that we can be vulnerable, the more that we can see what's inside, right? And the more that we know, the more that we can see and acknowledge, then we're equipped, right? We're then equipped to show up in the version that we choose to show up, right? And embody that frequency, right? But we have the responsibility is on me, right? This is an inside job, right? It's my responsibility, it's my accountability, right? To show up in the way that I choose to show up, right? And being vulnerable is key, right? Into opening up and seeing what's in there, right? And learning to be okay, with what is every moment to moment, right?
Amazing. And yeah, and being vulnerable requires us to be courageous. And I mean, from my own experience, you know, there's been that situation where I want to be courageous, but sometimes I just don't take action, and that's because there's the fear of being vulnerable, of being received as too emotional. But I feel now, when I think about that, emotional is okay, because you know what, we understand other people. We have this beautiful way of sympathizing with other people, and so it allows us to open that space for someone like Kiran, or like Kiran had opened space for me whenever, you know, I've been feeling really vulnerable. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you. And you know, and we all experience fears, right? I experience fear as well, right? And yeah, I love what you said about courage. Yeah, it's showing up in courage, but it's okay. Sometimes I also have a fear of not And a lot of this actually it has been something that has come into my field of attention, is a fear of expressing myself, right? And so if I can be with that fear, if I can just acknowledge it and honor it, it's okay if it doesn't lead into an expression of what I wish to say, no problem, right? You can see it now, right? You can see that, okay, there's that fear coming up. I can be with this, when there is that dissolution, then you'll be able to express yourself, right? So be kind, right? Be very kind and compassionate. That's one thing that I learned on this journey, is to be very kind with myself, to forgive myself. And forgive others, right? And just continue on the journey. And the more that you open up, what's really beautiful and magical about this universe is that other people show up to guide you along the path as well. Everyone is a teacher, right? The universe is consistently talking with you and communicating with you, and so open up. The invitation is to just open up and allow whatever to flow through. It's a really beautiful space.
It's amazing, and that actually is a segue to the next question. And I know you mentioned a few things. What has been the most challenging in the journey?
So I would say myself as well, and just learning to really learning to navigate through, right? Navigate my inner world, right? Turning that awareness inward and really exploring and navigating. It was challenging in the beginning because I didn't know how to do it, right? I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't know how to abide in awareness and just be able to just witness, right? So there was a lot of going back and forth, right? But eventually, what happens is it calibrates itself, right? I was able to just the more trials. This is why we say, failure is really a step to success, right? So just keep doing it, right? Consistency, right? And embodying that frequency, that energy, and it results, right? And so at some point I was able to actually really sit with myself and begin abiding in awareness and being able to witness. And in that witnessing, there are a lot of patterns, right? I'm willing to see, right? This is key. I'm willing to see what's in there, and some patterns are also challenging to see, right? Like anger, for instance, right? Anger, frustration. There's a lot of that comes up, that arises, right? And I wasn't seeing some of these emotions, and there's more clarity for me now, right? But sometimes that shows up, and I'm full on in anger or frustration, and it results, right? And it's hurtful, right? It's very hurtful, and so I get to now, forgive myself, right? And be kind to myself, but also to others, right? I get to apologize, I get to forgive others. So some of those patterns are challenging to navigate through, but at the same time, gratitude arises because now I can see, right? Yes. And the opportunity to heal and transformation is now possible.
Exactly. Yes, and like that speaks so much to me as well, because for the longest time I've judged a lot of these emotions and feelings that I shouldn't be feeling angry because I'm a nice person, and people expect me to be nice, to be kind, but I feel like the more we are able to embrace and be gentle with ourselves for feeling that way, we are embracing the whole of us.
Yes.
Right? Because the more, like in my own experience, when I've suppressed these emotions and these feelings, and they're just in there, and they want to come out, but because I am being a good person, I feel like I am judging them, and I shouldn't feel this way. And so my journey has been allowing those feelings to come out and being okay, accepting them, see them for what they are, because they all have a message. And doing this work may not be as easy, because you will find yourself that like Kiran said, she will see the patterns, and some of the patterns may not be what you want to see, what you want to find, right? Yeah. But you get to be gentle, loving, self-love, and compassionate to yourself, and it's okay, let's accept that, because a lot of these patterns we're acquired in our childhood too, right?
Yeah, and I would say the mindset shift here is to realize that we're here to have all experiences, right? The full range of emotions is available to us to feel, to experience, right? And to go through it, right? So yeah, there are many patterns that we don't want to see. Yeah, I agree. Judgment is one. Like we don't want to think of ourselves as judgmental, right? So be okay with that part of you that's judging, right? The more that you can be okay, right, the more that you can be comfortable, then the more you provide some space around it, right? So next time you don't follow it, right? So judgment is one, jealousy is another, competition's another, anger, like I said, anger, frustration, all of these things are there, right? So you want to allow these things to express themselves, right? And just be okay. Ultimately, that's the question we get to ask ourselves, right? All the masters and mystics have been saying, right? Just accept, be okay with reality, because it's an experience. You're having an experience and it's okay. You came here to have an experience.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what our soul choose for us. How was your life before going in this higher consciousness journey for you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you for that question. So I would say it's pretty unconscious. Yeah, before there was a conscious commitment in the journey, yeah, I experienced contrast, quite a bit of contrast. And so the main thing that I would say that I experienced was a lot of hurt. And I really didn't know how to process thoughts, emotions, feelings. We don't learn this stuff in school, right? So and our parents did the best they could, right? They were teaching us what they knew, right, in that generation, right? And so it was yeah, experienced contrast in childhood, and it went into adulthood as well. And yeah, I continued like that for a long time until I finally chose. You know, the one question I always had growing up was, why am I feeling this way, right? Two questions actually. How are we here, and why do I feel this way, right? Why is my friend getting over this hurt so fast and I'm not, right? I hold on to it for months and months at a time, right? So some of those perspectives there was a lot of awareness there for me, and it facilitated my journey. And so I'm super grateful for that. I'm super grateful for all experiences, because it's because of all my experiences and all my relationships that I'm here in this moment, right? And I'm able to have greater clarity on that as well. But so when I started the journey, I would say a little bit less unconscious, more conscious. I was reading a lot of books, right? So like the usual stuff, right? Like emotional intelligence, really anything related to supporting emotions and thoughts, right? So it was still in the thought realm though, right? Because it was through intellect. I was reading, I was absorbing the information. It really didn't become an experiential experience. It didn't really become a somatic. I didn't get into the body until much later, right, when I started to meditate, right? So meditation was an avenue, was a tool for me to be able to now observe, right? And I got through to meditation at the conference, at Joe Dispenza's conference. And when there was an opportunity now to see myself and the stories, right? Then there was an opportunity to now, you know, first of all, inquire why am I choosing this and not that, right? What's leading me? What's this momentum, right? A lot of inquiry, self-inquiry is actually key as well with meditation, I would say. Really ask, right? Ask, are my feelings, is this is there validity? Is there truth in this moment, right? All you have is the present moment, right? All you have is present moment awareness. Everything that happened in the past already happened, right? And the future's not here, right? So all you have is this moment. So is it truth? Like, okay, hurt's coming up, anger's coming up. Is there any validity to my feelings right now in this moment? Yes, honor them, right? But there's nothing. You and I are talking right now, right? So it's so simple, yet the mind makes it so complicated, right? So, but yeah, so I would say that's been my journey, and I'm super grateful to all the masters and the mystics that laid out a path for us through yoga and you know, breath work, asanas, yoga asanas, meditation, dhyana, right? All of these have supported me on my journey, and yeah, very beautiful. It's been a very beautiful integration of a lot of Eastern philosophy, which I know resonates with you as well.
Yes, of course. For me, yes, as well. That the meditation was the entry point to really establish that space between my thoughts and what was creating my emotions and my feelings, and beautifully. And it's so easy. One thing I want to say is that for anyone out there who's listening, and you are on a journey like this, and you want to intellectualize all of this, it's so easy to just keep it here. But the beauty of it is that, remember, we have a mind and body connection, and so we get to embody, we get to do this somatic work, and perhaps you haven't heard the word somatic before, but it's a body movement. And as Kiran is mentioning, yoga is a great start, it's a great practice to integrate all of that's going on in our mind. And we're living in a society right now that everything is, we just keep it here, and that's why we focus so much in the past or in the future, right? We're live so much in those timelines that we don't really live presently. Like, we don't presence what's going on in our lives or within us or with our family or our surroundings. And then I have so much appreciation for these Eastern philosophies because I've never grew up in that. In the moments that I started practicing this, and I started feeling different, like more present, it was a totally different version of me, right? And so, beautifully said, like I feel like this has been a blessing for me to have had that call and to incorporate all these practices on a daily basis, because I feel transformed, right? And it's like you said, it's not easy. It is simple but not easy.
No, it's not easy. And the call, also the invitation, is to be okay being uneasy, being uncomfortable, right? Because you've had so many patterns, right, for so many years, right? So it's very comfortable, right? It's very comfortable to be there because you know it so well, right? So to get out of it, it's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna feel a little bit uneasy. So lean into it, right? Lean into it, seek support. If you're feeling uncomfortable, that's awesome. That is awesome. I'm gonna say be okay with it. That is the way out, my friend. That is the way out. Is through it is the way out. Okay.
Yes, I'm a testament of that, people. So I wanted to segue to plant medicine.
Okay, sure.
Because I know you've done many, as you call it, molecules.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things about Kiran, she actually comes from pharmacology.
Yes.
Pharmacology. And, somebody from pharmacology shifting into more plant medicine. Her mind has been very focused on science. And many scientists nowadays are, you can see like Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, many more are seeing the beautiful new sciences connected to spirituality. And so when we start seeing all of this and what are the things that are possible, and so much has been said in the studies with plant medicine and psychedelics is becoming the new renaissance. So Kiran has actually done a few ceremonies, and for what in our previous conversations she has had amazing consciousness awakening from those experiences. Yet we're not advocating, we're just gonna discuss as to what her experience has been. And this video is basically just for information and entertainment. If this is something you're exploring, I invite you to really do your research and do it in a setting and with people that are professionals that can guide you through this, because it's not for everybody, and it is not an easy way out either. If not, it could bring a lot of things that, you know, that requires a lot of integration, because it opens up the mind to different frequencies, to different consciousness dimensions. You know, we were talking now dimensions too. So I'm just curious for her to kind of talk a little bit more about her experience with psychedelics.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it. Yeah, the way I set in these plant ceremonies, first of all, they were for therapeutics, right? They were intentional. It wasn't. It was something that I was exploring. You know, I was in a space where, you know, there was so much awareness and expansion of consciousness that a lot of these things, these tools, these modalities, they started to show up. So I was curious, right? I was very curious. So I tried a few things, and like you said, I experienced. Again, it's set and setting, right? So you want to have the right external environment and people supporting you, and you also want to know how to be guided internally as well, because a lot of emotions may come up, right? That you haven't experienced maybe in a while, or you don't know this about yourself, right? So now it's coming up because there is now space for it to show up, and so yeah, I would say a lot of fear came up. A lot of fear came up, and I was able to see it in the beginning when I set. I can name. Do you want me to?
Sure.
Name? Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
I started with an ayahuasca ceremony actually. And,
She went right in.
Yeah.
on the grandmothers of all that plant medicine.
Yeah. I did. It showed up in my field of attention. I'm like, you know what? I'm curious about this, and
Because most people, and sorry to interrupt, most people will start with MDMA or what's that, psilocybin, or LSD, right?
Yeah.
So these are like a little bit less potent, I would say, but most people said, yeah, you want to go into ayahuasca, you want to walk up first these modalities first, and then ayahuasca sort of like the last, because it's a really strong, really potent substance, right?
Okay. So I didn't know that, but this is what showed up first for me was ayahuasca, and the first, so I said twice, and the first experience
twice, like back to back,
different times. I not back to back. I think there was a period of several months, I would say, the first experience I didn't quite surrender. There was a lot of resistance showing up, and I suffered through the night, through the experience, until eventually there was a moment of release, and I was able to just surrender and experience. And there was a lot of light, a lot of beautiful light, a lot of peace, a lot of freedom. It really just felt like I was just here. So there wasn't still an understanding of it at that moment, of what it is, right? It was just, it was just really like, okay, beautiful experience. The second time around, and I did it after experiencing, I think, psilocybin. And psilocybin, I really chose to do it on my own, intentionally, again, choosing to increase the doses, right? And have different experiences, and sort of navigate, because when you start with low doses, you can navigate a little bit more, right? Internally, you can navigate and explore whatever is arising, right? And so those were beautiful experiences too. And then I did my second ayahuasca. I don't know exactly the chronology, I'm just kind of sort of telling you what I've done. And the second ayahuasca, I was able to just surrender. I surrendered right away, and then I was able to just experience presence throughout the night and the next day. And it was truly magical, because I was truly just here. And there was a lot of beautiful light, and I was able to be with that. There wasn't fear coming up. And of course, by then I was already a heavy meditator too, right? So my invitation is, if this is something you're exploring, prepare, right? Meditate, talk to someone, right? There are many beautiful guides out there, and meditation. I was doing a lot of meditation and breath work already, so I was calming the nervous system, right? I was creating that space for myself to be able to have this experience, right? To support this experience, and So, and I did also, I did do combo as well. So similar experience there. What else did I do? What else did I tell you? So I've tried a few molecules.
Did you do
No, I
MTMA?
didn't. I didn't do that. No. So I sat for a few ceremonies, I would say, again with intention, right? And to experience and to heal, right? As a healing modality. And but what I would say, even after experiencing all of that, I will still return to silent meditation. This is the tool that, because I was doing silent meditation to support me in these modalities anyways, right? So I would still say that this is my path, is meditation.
Amazing. Like I also had an experience, and that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, because I know many people right now are looking to have this experience. But one of the things that I am going to say is so important is to find the right guide, to find a place that is safe. No windows. They recommend no windows. I mean, you can do in nature as long as you have a guide that will be there with you, supporting you all the way, because it can get pretty heavy with the emotions that come up, because a lot of these emotions, and what I experienced with my own, I did psilocybin only, it's that many of those were subconscious. I was not even aware that a lot of these emotions were there. I mean, it was a beautiful experience. I mean, yes, there was heaviness, but there was also happiness. And so every emotion and feeling, you feel it like amplified 10 times to, maybe if I'm feeling a lot of love right now, it's just like, I don't know, you're like in this dimension where everything is just love, right? So that's the kind of experience that, I mean, I did have with mine. And so we just kind of wanted to touch on that, because many people are seeking about guidance, or like plant medicine, and how that opens a portal also to higher consciousness and more elevated states, right?
So what I can offer also here is when I experienced these molecules, I was in a very different level of consciousness, right? And so for me, they were very acute experiences, right? I had the experience. I didn't quite integrate it as well, right? Because I wasn't aware enough at that moment. So I would say maybe now is a different experience, right? Every moment is a different experience, right? Because being human is so dynamic, right? So dynamic, right? And and we're having different subjective experiences at different levels, right? They're called koshas, right? The different subjective experiences of being human, right? And so I would say, if you're exploring, if you feel called to explore the space, exactly what Vanessa said, seek a guide, seek support.
Perfect. And nowadays they're doing so many studies in regards to plant medicine. It's in the US, I think it's a few of them are coming to be legalized, because it's proven to have had really great effects on people that had PTSD, depression, anxiety. They're suffering a lot of mental health, but it's definitely, I'm going to say, it's not for everybody. And she touched a really good point. Integration is key. Preparation, the ceremony, and integration is three things that no one can skip. From my own experience, integrating was perhaps the most difficult one, especially because I didn't have much guidance. And Kiran was actually an amazing guide for me. Like she, as she was going through her own coaching journey as well to become a coach, she guided me through many somatic work, and even understanding that everything that was happening within me. I was creating it, and to see that everything that we created within here is a reflection outside. And so definitely we're the creators of our own reality. And I just recently heard that psychedelics means mind manifest?
Yeah, I don't know exactly the the definition, but yes, something.
Mind
Yeah,
manifest.
yeah,
And so interestingly enough is you create that. And I remember in my own journey, you know, if I focus on pain, I will see all these really weird images. Even the colors were like gray, black, and white, and
yeah,
very disturbing. As I focus on happiness and joy and feeling that, I remember seeing beautiful colors and lights within me. Like my own body seemed to be healing
yeah,
at the quantum level, right?
yeah.
I mean, it sounds it's esoteric, but I mean, it's just almost like, you know, touching this dimension of heaven. I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
think that's what I can call, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're
Yeah.
narrating your path. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
That's
and
beautiful.
and
Yeah.
we, and you know, even afterwards when we integrate and we, because our brain goes in this neuroplasticity state, so we can start building new habits and becoming more consistent with those habits,
Yeah.
eating better, whatever it is that you want to start incorporating in your life, more movement. And you know, I feel like after my experience too, I've been able to connect much more with nature.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate it more as well. So
Yeah.
I more love to my pets, more love to my family. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's
Right.
moment to moment. Once you start to shift, you see that shift in all aspects of life.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. All right, perfect. So basically, you answered my next question,
Okay.
which was which of these modalities has proven to you to be the one that you always go back to?
Yeah.
And you said it was silent meditation.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. It was if I can offer, I also did 5 or 6 rounds of Vipassana in the last 6 years. And so
Beautiful.
Vipassana is basically you go away for 10 to 15 days and you meditate. So sitting meditation or walking meditation in silence, so you don't have any devices and you're not speaking with others either. And then there's a regimen or a practice of eating twice a day, waking up at 4 a.m., starting your meditation, going to bed at 10 p.m., finishing your meditation. So you're basically meditating the whole day. And yeah, I would recommend Vipassana, and this is what I meant for when with the molecules, it was very acute. For me, it was very short, whereas meditation, my experience is that it offered more space and time because it was longer. It was 15 days. The first one was 15 days, and I could sit with myself, right? It was very intentional. I was like, no, okay, let me just do this. Let me see this. What's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do I heal, right? So for me, that at that time, that's what it offered me was a longer space and time, and that I could sit with myself. And I've been going back ever since, every year, sometimes twice a year, because there's so much healing. You see so much more. There's great expansion of consciousness, increased awareness. And the guide is beautiful. Like my teacher, my Vipassana teacher is beautiful, and they really support you. The energy is there too in the facility and the space, and that mind is there, right? That image, that symbol of the mind for Vipassana, and and it's very supportive for me. It offers me great support, and I love it. Yeah.
What are your gifts and talents?
Oh, thank you for that question. So I would say really like my gift is the willingness to work on myself, really. And the more that I can work on
love
myself,
that.
the more that I work on myself, the more it reflects out here, right? And the more knowledge and the more understanding I integrate, then I can share and impart that, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that's my greatest gift, is really working on myself, willing to work on myself, and increasing awareness and expanding consciousness, and being able to share that with others that are committed on the path, right? And and for me, the only path is inward, right? It's really inward. It's a path to the heart.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. So what do you value? And I ask this question because I know my values have completely changed to what I used to value 5 years ago before embarking in this journey of self-transformation, self-healing. But I'm curious if any of your values have shifted. I'm sure they have.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, my focus was externally so much, right?
Yeah.
Like we always want to, get a better job, make more money, get into relationships, right? Get a bigger house, right? Get a bigger car, right? It was always very much here, right? Externally. Now it's, no, let me know what's going on here. Let's see what's happening, what's coming up for me now. What can I be with, right? So I would say really self actualization. Like there's so many self exploration, self discovery, self healing, self transformation, self actualization. The 5 selves, right? So I would say those are my values. Yeah, 100%. And the more that I can be inward, go inward, direct my awareness inward, the more that I can experience, right? The more that I can explore, the more that I can navigate my inner world, right? In that there's so much freedom, there's so much peace, so much love, so much joy, and and it's moment to moment, right? We've been saying, it's okay sometimes, right? Like sometimes, anger shows up, no problem. Hurt shows up, no problem. And maybe it results in something, right? And you feel bad about that. It's okay. It's okay.
It's everything. It's okay.
We
get to experience all of those. I love how and Kiran and I, we took a mastermind with this beautiful being, Peter Crone. If you're not familiar with him, he's a very elite, worldwide, I would say, thought leader, international coach. And one of his many of his, I would say, mantras and quotes. One is his frequency perceives form, right? And so what Kiran is referring to is that many of us, and it's not our fault either, because this is society's expectation of success, of like achieving and material stuff, and this is what we learn from our parents, and no fault of their own either, because this is what they learned from their parents. So now we've living in this world where much more value has been placed in self-actualization and self-improvement, self-healing. Why? Because we know that it's what really matters. Like, you can spend your life killing yourself in a job 9 to 5, and you're not even happy, you don't even make that much money, and you're just going because you have to pay bills, you have to buy a car, you have to pay your mortgage, whatever it is. And I'm not saying that is wrong. I'm just saying that when we shift to internal value, then we will accomplish all those things in a different energy, not in lack or in scarcity, but more in a loving lack. More things will come to us as a byproduct of practicing those inner values and becoming more inner focused, right?
Beautiful,
right. So I feel like that's been our journey, and I love it. Some days it gets to me because one thing that for me was difficult, or has been difficult, is dwelling so much in the self-healing part of it, right? And sometimes not being able to let it go, right? And as I looked more within and I accept those parts of me that are in suffering and in pain and more compassionate, then I realized, that's all they want. They just want my love. They just want to integrate, right? And so I allow them to be there, accept them, and then they'll integrate, right? So
beautiful. And integration is really going through the experience, right? Allowing the experience, really fully be with the experience, right? Hear all the hearing, all the vision, everything, sensory, right? All the thoughts, all the feelings, right? Really complete that experience, right?
And no staying here.
That's right.
Doing a lot of body work too. I think is very key in the integration.
100%.
This is mind and body connection. I mean, at least for my own experience, I feel like I'm a heady person, and I tend to keep a lot of energy in my head. And you and I discussed this before, and as she has guided me to a more somatic experience, I felt a beautiful shift. right? So thank you
Yeah,
for
no,
that.
thank you. And I'll say I've learned a lot through my own journey, right? Because I was also like that. It was very much in my head, right? I started the journey, right? Reading, but still was in the thought layer.
Yeah.
It's only until I dropped the attention
Yeah.
and I surrendered, right,
Yeah.
to this, to what is, that, it was truly magical and transformative.
That's
And that is
awesome.
our invitation to you.
Yes. Believe me, it's so much peaceful, it's so much freedom that, you know, it's a freedom that money, that nothing externally can give you. And honestly, I'm an advocate for that. The next question is, you have done some traveling. Like we talked about your travels, and you went to India last year, right?
Yes, last year. That's right. Yeah.
So I know that India represents for many that spiritual portal, you know, to many people, and many people travel to India. So, but out of all the places that you've been, which one has hold the most value for you, and why?
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Beautiful question. So I would say, so traveling has been something that it's interesting because I've been traveling since I was very young. And so that bug was always there, right? That inspiration to travel was always there for me. You know, the adventure, the exposure to different cultures, right? And that in itself, those experiences, I would say, helped to open my mind to new experiences, right? To seeing different things. And as I shifted, right, the way I viewed traveling itself also shifted, right? So it became more, like you said, I love how you said this, spiritual portal, right? There are some places around the globe, right, that are considered spiritual portals, and yeah, some parts of India are. And I went with my mom actually to Ramana Maharshi's ashram in the south of India, and yeah, that trip was very magical for me. Honestly, everything aligned from when we booked a ticket here. It was very much like we just aligned with life, and it just happened because when we go to India, we always prepare 6 months ahead of time. This was like 4 weeks before we decided we're going. We booked the ticket, we got the visas. It was just boom, 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 and it all happened, right? And it was all during COVID, so we had to fill out all these arrival forms, I don't know, some forms, right? And so and we ended up going to 3 actually beautiful ashrams. We also went, so we stayed at Ramana Maharshi's ashram, and it was a beautiful experience. There was so many foreigners, so many people from all over the world there. It was really beautiful to see that. We also went to Isha Foundation, which is also in the south. Actually, we stayed in the south, the southern part of India, and Isha Foundation, I'm sure you know, is by Sadhguru, right? And again, they were all very beautiful experiences, and really emphasize, you know, some of the tools that we were talking about, right? Meditation, you know, yoga. At Isha Foundation, basically there's a schedule there. You can get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and go practice asanas in a beautiful ashram, and the energy is so palpitating because it's so vibrational, right? Because there are other people there with the same intention as you. Is so intentional, it's so focused, the attention. So it's really beautiful experience. So I would really recommend to actually explore these parts of the world where the intention is so focused on really like high frequency, high vibration, and simply allow that to go through, right? And it's really really beautiful. And in the last, I think the last ashram we went to was a day trip. It was it was in the state that we were staying at, where we have family, and that was also a beautiful experience, just to be able to go to a temple and just experience the temple. It was very different than previous trips that I had gone to India. I was more present. I didn't experience resistance. I was very much like, okay, I have to climb 1,000 stairs to get to divinity, to God, no problem. If you see all these temples in Asia, and maybe even on the western front, you basically get to suffer. You get to climb, you
Yeah.
know, these things, and you get to finally get to the ashram and the temple, and it's so beautiful, and you're so at peace, right?
Yeah, that's a beautiful analogy to explain it, because you have to suffer first
You get to suffer.
before you cross the bridge,
Yeah.
right? You get to the other side.
So that's the divine comedy, right? It's so cyclical, right?
Yeah.
The nature of reality is so cyclical. You get to go through contrast, you know, and then you get to go through alignment, right?
Yes.
Those two are in hand, right?
Exactly. It's like when our bodies, it's in pain, and I have had a lot of pain in my body, not recently as much, but throughout my life, and that's because I'm not in alignment, right?
Yeah.
And then so I go to my chiro, and then she fixes me, and I'm like, oh, I'm walking fine, I'm no pain, amazing. So yeah, so some, that's exactly what it is. It's a pattern, and it's ending and beginnings,
Yeah.
and what's life and death,
Yeah.
right? All of that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and
So
it's really
just
like
dark and light.
Yeah, and somebody said this beautifully. A friend, and I'm not sure. I may be paraphrasing, but it's really like infinite transformations in eternity. This is what it is. There's really no end, no beginning, right?
Yeah.
It's just infinite transformations in eternity. I thought that was so beautiful. It landed when he said it. I'm like, oh yeah, that lands.
I mean, we're infinite beings, we're multidimensional beings, and it's a journey to go through all of that as well, right? To get to know ourselves better. What is your mission in this lifetime? And, feel free to elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, my mission is very clear. It became very clear after meditating 10 days with Joe Dispenza. It really did. It is really to service and support humanity to experience a life of more freedom, more joy, more love, right? More peace. I'm in the business of freedom, right? So the more I free myself, right, the more that becomes available, right? Yeah, it's freedom. Freedom, baby.
And, I'm a testament of that, because I've few times that Kiran has guided me, there's been so many heavy energies, and from the moment that she guides me through, and I can see it, how I have created that, and I can see the story, and then I get out of the story, and I am witnessing myself, my emotions, my feelings, and the story, and boom, something shifts. She makes me, in the end, I end up laughing or smiling, because it's amazing, and I'm just very grateful that she's in my life, that she came to my life at the right time, divine time. I believe in that, and it has been such a synchronicity, such a blessing to have her there at all times. And we might not sometimes communicate every day or talk every day, but whenever we do, it's like time hasn't gone by. It's like weird.
Yeah.
So,
and I want to say what I want to offer. Thank you for that. I want to offer is this is a reflection of her.
Yeah. She reflects back on me, and and I feel like there's also a reflection from me, and I feel like we both reflect on each other beautifully, and we create this experience, which is, I couldn't ask for someone better than to create this platform, and this container that can help many people. And so before we close, there's one more question. I'd like to invite you to talk to us more about your children's book. What was the inspiration? And you have written 3 books, right?
Yes, so I have three children's books, and they're available on my website. So one is called My Friend Maya. The second book is Karma and Dharma, and the third book is Swimming with Sadhana. And I'm inspired to write 2 more in this series. So it's called Consciousness for Children and Their Parents. And it's really about a little girl. Her name is Sunny, and she's preoccupied with thoughts, with emotions, with feelings, and it's really about her journey of self-exploration, discovery, and along the path, she's going inward. Along the path, she meets many friends. She meets Maya, right? She meets Karma, she meets Dharma, she meets Sadhana, and they all teach her lessons, right? And she's learning lessons along the path, and really cultivating inner bliss, I would say, cultivating self-love and joy, and realizing what the journey is all about.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Would you say the Sunny kind of reflects back a little bit of your own journey?
I would say 100%. Yeah, you can even see the facial
Yes, they're beautiful arts.
expressions. Maybe of me.
Yeah. So I invite you to visit her website. I will post everything or the links for her work on the description notes. But beautiful artwork in the books, and it's just so delightful to see that, if this is something, the invitation is also, as a mom, I invite all you parents to start talking about consciousness to your kids, because this is what's gonna be more value. This is stuff that teachers don't teach at school. We don't learn this in college, university, and we learn, supposedly life skills, right? But a lot of these life skills are only on the surface. I feel like the deeper connection, the deeper learning can come from our parents, and the more we're open to higher consciousness. And thanks, Kiran, for really, inspiring kids, whatever age they are. They're beautiful. You can even read these books to a 3-4-year-old, right? So definitely I invite you to check them out on her website, and we'll put all of that stuff. But I mean, the question would be, any closing remarks?
Yeah, sure. The fact that you're watching this video, I think it's a testament to where you are in your journey, and I would say continue to choose you.
Yeah,
this is it. This is key, right? Choose yourself, and I would say also choose a path that takes you inward, right? To explore inner worlds, explore, navigate, discover, cultivate, right? A lot of this really beautiful language, right? That guides you inward. And you're doing great. There's really nothing wrong with you. You're doing awesome. It's okay to be you. You're in a beautiful space, and explore, be curious, be inspired.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. And where can people find you? Like if they, what's your demographic? Like who do you serve?
Yeah, you know what? I'm available to actually anyone, really. You can find me. My website is www.kiranshines, Kiran Shines, SHINES, so kiranshines.com. And my email is kiran@kiranshines.com. So you can connect with me through there, and I think Vanessa will post everything in the description. And I just want to say also thank you so much, Vanessa. This was a lovely experience. Thank you for hosting me, and thank you for creating this space again to allow other people to come on and share their gifts and talents. This is really how we begin to expand consciousness, and we begin to share and impart the knowledge that we've learned through our journeys. So it's a blessing to be here. It's an honor. Thank you. Thank you to everyone as well for watching.
Yes, thank you everybody if you're watching all the way to the end. I know it's a long video, but the invitation is to look within you. That's basically the beginning of the best journey you can do, and be gentle, self-loving, self-compassionate, and kind. And believe me, once that beautiful energy starts brewing within you, it will just do magic. I think I follow this thing called the Hermetics work. I don't know, the Hermes. So they wrote this on this table, and it says, it's very ancient stuff. It says, so within, so without, so above as below. And so within, so without means whatever is in here is just gonna reflect back out. And when you are in a great energy, you will attract the things that you want, or that you are, because we attract who we are, not what we want. And so if you want something from a scarcity point of view, that's what you're gonna attract. So shift your energy, your frequency, and you'll see how many beautiful things will just materialize for you. With that being said, thank you for watching, and until the next one, appreciate you, and remember, whatever you are, it's okay. Love yourself to the maximum. Okay?
Love and light.
Yes. Namaste. Mwah. Bye. Hey, beautiful friends. So we are going to do some somatic work. We're going to start to do some qigong and shake our hands like this. And you can go side to side. Okay, and you can do that for a minute, 2 minutes. We're just going to do a minute just to kind of show you that. And we're going to have our palms facing the floor and just feel the energy. And qigong energy is chi. So the chi is circulated. It's pulsation, tingling. Just be present to it. The next exercise is we're going to bring our hands up in a prayer position and breathing. Bring them to the chest, breathe out. Extend our hands to the front. Breathe in. Bring them up again. Breathe in. Breathe out to the chest. Breathe in, extend forward. Breathe out. Just gonna be cross-legged. And we're just gonna breathe in as deep as we can. Bring all the breath to your belly and your chest area. Hold for 2 seconds and release with your mouth. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Hold 2, 1. Release. Hold out. Feel your chest filling in, your belly filling in again. 2, 1, release. We're gonna close our eyes and we're gonna just spend about 2 minutes in silence. You can have your hands towards your lap, or you can have in a receiving form, and then you just take deep breaths and being open awareness. Right, my friends, beautiful work. Hope this is helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.
I'm sorry, it started already?
It's okay, I can cut that out.
Okay, sorry, okay, go.
Talking a lot of things, higher consciousness, self-discovery. This is not the actual